Okay, so welcome to the class, homeopathy, finding the right remedy and muscle testing. I might be admitting a few more people here to the class as we go on, but I think we're going to get started on time so we can end on time. This is a little bit of a, I've been actually wanting to do this class for years. I did it at when they got Natural Grocers here, but I always thought I wanted to do it online and be able to kind of reach a lot more people. But I just want to give everybody a little bit of introduction because there's a lot of people online, especially that don't know me. I've been a homeopath for about 5 years and treated in Longview, Texas. That's where I'm located. I've treated probably close to 800 people at this point with a good amount of success. But I learned from Kyron Weed, who's a homeopath nearby here. And he treated my family for 1.5 years. That's who I learned from. And I came from an educational background, so I have almost master's in education, and then totally shifted everything to do homeopathy because it was so impactful to my life of my family. Just wanted to be able to share that with other people. My technique is a little bit different than some other, homeopaths you might have heard about, especially people online might have gone to a classical homeopath or using protocols. I don't quite do things that way. And what I'm going to share with you today is a lot of how you can, find a remedy and then be able to muscle test yourself or somebody else to find that right remedy. But so what my therapy includes is it's a lot of muscle testing. At the same time, we're trying to use the person's symptoms to figure out what they need. And at the same time, we're using like detoxing remedies and different things like that. But today I'm going to be kind of just giving you an introduction, something you can go home today and try to just be able to feel confident in trying to help people and yourselves with homeopathy. Just give you some tools. So homeopathy essentially is frequency medicine. Though some of you may not have heard of it that way before, but it's basically these different substances. So you have herbs and minerals and even poisonous materials or different disease materials that we turn into a frequency through different machinery in these laboratories that can then stimulate your body to heal itself. So even Albert Einstein predicted that frequency medicine would be the medicine of the future. And in Europe, it's a lot more widespread. Over there, there's many countries that will cover it with insurance programs because it's scientifically based. Even there was if you ever want to look up a great video on YouTube, it's called Water Memory, and it's by Dr. Luc Montagnier. And that gets into the deep, like scientific mechanism of how homeopathy works. So that's called Water Memory. You can find that on YouTube. And you'll actually get to see how remedies are made. And so he proves it with a strand of DNA that he's actually able to turn into a frequency, and the water holds that charge. So how to get started with homeopathy, there's 2 different kinds. There's acute and there's chronic. So when you hear a homeopath say, oh, acute case, that's more of like a something that's recent, so you get hurt or you get sick. Chronic is like if you've had migraines for 20 years or long-term type of issues. Now, how do you find a remedy? There's lots of different ways. I'm going to give you the kind of quickest go-to ways that I give a lot of my clients. So the first one, there's books, but I'm going to recommend the book that I use. I still use it to this day. And I know some of you already have it. It's called The Complete Homeopathy Handbook by Miranda Castro. If you don't have it with you today, that's fine. If you do, that's fine too. I'm going to kind of teach you how to use that. There's also, my favorite website is called Dr. Homeo. So you can go to his website. I tell a lot of people to go there. So drhomeo.com. And you can type in your ailment and he will pretty much give you these like top 5 or 6 remedies for that. Then you can read through there. So like for instance, if you're reading through about a cough and you want to figure out what remedy because you have a bad cough. Well, first of all, I would tell you, you also want to address drainage that's happening. So if you're having nasal drainage, that's feeding into a cough. So you want to look at that also. Don't forget about that. Some people will just be like, I have a cough, and then you use homeopathy, but you're not fixing the cause of it. So, so let's say you want to go on Dr. Homeo, and then there's the upper right-hand corner, there's a search that will say search, for whatever you want. Just put in their cough, or let's say it's strep throat or whatever, and then he'll give you these top 5 or 6 remedies. You read through each one, and so if it's like it says a hacking cough, and that's the kind of cough you have, or a very wet cough, you're going to kind of read through and try to pick. Usually I have to have people try to narrow it down to 1 to 3 remedies. And then you can actually, just from Dr. Homeo, you can honestly just go get those remedies, or if you have them ready, test them on yourself, or even if you don't feel confident muscle testing yet, you can just take all 3, 1 pellet of each. And the thing with homeopathy, you're never gonna harm anybody or anything, so you're never going to be like, oh, if I take this, what if I get the wrong one? I'm going to mess myself up. I'm going to get worse. Now, if you took the wrong one every 15 minutes, that's a problem. You're going to be aggravating yourself. It's kind of like if you go to start your car and it's already started and you keep turning the key, what's going to happen? The engine gets flooded. Now, it's not going to break your engine completely. You just turn it off and everything kind of gets back to normal, and you start the car again, or turn it off again. So that's kind of with homeopathy too. You just want to give yourself time. So if you're in an acute situation, if you have a cough, what I would do is find those top few remedies. Now, if you can muscle test, great. If you can't, then just take them. Just take, let's say you find 2 to 3, just take 1 of each. Wait to see how you feel. Now, if you have a cough, the cough should get worse. That's what you want. You want to actually see yourself, the cough being more productive. So the point is to get it out of the lungs. So a lot of people get, I went home and my son, his cough got worse. He started coughing a lot. That's good. Good. The lungs are doing its job. It's supposed to get that out of there. So now, and what I would do with that is possibly take that. I'll tell you about frequency of how much to take things in a little bit. But with the book, so if you look in the homeopathy handbook, in the very back, you find pages like this. It's a lot of words. There's a lot of like different ailments and remedies on there. Now they're all kind of hyphenated, shortened. So if you don't know what they are, then just look it up online. You should be able to find out. I think actually in the beginning it will tell you what remedies they are. So if it says Ars Alb, that's arsenicum album. If it says Ip, that's Ipecac. Okay, but you can find that out in the book. I know it has that, and also online. So for example, if we are going to look up something in the book, let's say your child or somebody else has the flu, okay, and you want to know, how do I find a remedy for the flu? Well, you're going to go to, there's a section in here, it says flu, and then gastric flu. So you'll see the title, there's 2 different ones. Most flus are there's usually vomiting and diarrhea and things involved them. So that's usually where I go, is the gastric flu part. And so what you're going to do is you're going to look down this list, and it says different kinds of pains. It says pains, aching. Then it says painless diarrhea, fever, nausea, retching, vomiting. Better for chills, better after chills, better for belching, better during fever, worse in the evening. It's giving you all these different symptoms. So what we have to do is try to be able to find the most significant symptoms that fit whatever is going on. So if you feel like, okay, this person has a fever, most people do. So then you're going to look at, okay, there's 3 remedies listed there: Baptisia, Bryonia, and Eupatorium. Now, what some people will do, they'll just write those 3 down. So they'll find, did you guys find the page? Okay, page 181. So they're going to be like, okay, they have the fever. So Baptisia, Bryonia, Eupatorium, write those down. Then they're going to look down the list again and say, okay, yeah, there is vomiting. Okay, so just has Eupatorium there. Now, you might also want to just go over to the flu section. So usually I find like 3 symptoms that are significant. So I might write down let's see, the vomiting eupatorium. Okay, eupatorium is also in the fever, so that's one you're going to think about. But if you go over to flu, and let's say it has a headache, now that's pretty significant. That's kind of unique. Not all flus will have a headache. So if I see over in the flu section, it says with headache. Do you see that? Also eupatorium. So if I saw my son had a flu with a headache, first thing I would give him would be eupatorium, right? Because it covers the fever, it covers the vomiting, and it covers the headache. Now let's say that this person who has the flu has, let's see, I'm trying to think, has also sneezing, which is not very common. So eupatorium is also listed in there, but there's another one there, rust tox. Now I would actually try that because sneezing is pretty unique for a flu. So I would throw that in there, either test group to muscle test, or I'd just give it to them. Okay, so let's look at another thing here. Let's say earache is one that you can find. I usually use this book for earaches a lot because it's really good. So go to page 176 if you have it. And for earache, which is the same in homeopathic terms, it's the same as an ear infection. Okay, so if you know somebody who has an ear infection, earache is fine. So then what I usually will see in there is it says worse for bending down, worse from fresh air, worse on the left side. This is what I use this book for the most. So if you have somebody, I usually ask them, oh, you have an ear infection? Which ear? Oh, my left ear. Okay. Well, I go to my book, worse for the left side. There's 3 remedies. It says calibichromicum, lachesis, and sulfur. I usually would just give those, those 3, or have a muscle test on it. But those 3 are a really good match. Then you also have right-sided earaches or ear infection, belladonna, nitricum acetum. Just go ahead and give those. So what you're going to be looking for is significant symptoms. You're kind of looking through this book, and sometimes you might be able to cross-reference, for different finding remedies, like we did with the eupatorium. Oh, eupatorium covers this symptom, and that symptom. Because in homeopathy, the more symptoms you can cover with that remedy, the better match it's going to be. Now, if you take a remedy and let's say you're reading about it, and I've had many clients say this to me before, they say, well, yeah, but I read on Dr. Homeo that, eupatorium was good for a flu that also made the person was scared or something like that. So then I didn't take it. Well, no, that's in homeopathy, you want to take something that's a pretty good match. It doesn't have to match 100%. Let's say it matches 50%, but none of the other remedies look like they match at all. Well, then take that one that's 50%. Go ahead and just take it. It's not going to hurt you. Most likely it will help you to get over whatever is going on. So that's how to use this book. Now, there's also some other great parts in it, just talking about remedies themselves. That's really interesting because a lot of remedies have like a personality to them. When they're your constitutional remedies, they fit you in an emotional and a physical way. So it's really interesting. You might see something like lachesis. It will say in the book, general symptoms, their breath smells, their lips are blue, their palpitations, sweat from mental exertion, symptoms are left-sided, better for fresh air while eating, worse for alcohol. So it gives you all these different things. You might read this and be like, why did my homeopath give me lachesis? Or why did I need this before? I've needed lachesis. I don't have any of these things. Okay, but that doesn't mean I should never take it. It means that maybe a person who is a deep lachesis, somebody who is, really strong into that remedy is most of those things. But if you read about a remedy and you think, whoa, what is that? That doesn't sound anything like me. It might sound like 20% like you, and that could actually help you in some different symptoms that you have. But if you also read the emotional mental symptoms, it talks about anxious on waking, cheerful, complaints from grief, mental strain, confused, depressed, excitable. It gives some other things, and I could say, oh, okay, maybe some of that is me, as I read through that part. So it's interesting as you read through these remedies. If you go to a homeopath and they tell you what your constitutional is, read it over and just keep it in mind that they're not saying you're a horrible person, that they're just trying to tell you some of you and some of your problems fit in that remedy and can be helped by that remedy. So that's pretty much the complete homeopathy handbook. I really like that one. There's other great resources that you can go to. Another one's called homeocenter.com. homeocenter.com. Now, sometimes you can just honestly go to Google and type in the issue. So let's say you're feeling depressed and you're like, I wonder if there's a remedy for depression. I want to try it on my own to try to figure it out. Look up depression, homeopathy, and you'll find websites that are going to give you some really great suggestions. And you'll see that a lot of those websites are saying the same thing. There's like 5 or 6 remedies that they always talk about. So what you do is read through those remedies and see what's your best match, your closest match, or just muscle test yourself and start taking them. So there's some, my website is really good. I don't want to plug it because I'm not getting anything out of it, but I've created a really good resource. So if you go to Homeopathic Services Longview, or look up my name, Katie Cunha, I have a section called Top Chronic Remedies, which is really good for chronic issues that you can actually, and on that website, I teach you how to take the remedy, how often to take it, when to start going up in the potencies, when to stop taking it. So I give you a lot of really good information on there for free. Another one I like is, her name is Joette Calabrese. Joette, so Joette. Calabrese is Calabrese. And she has some good, you can also search in her files and come up with some great protocols. Now she works with famous Indian homeopaths called the Banerjees. And so she gets a lot of their protocols and she'll just post them on her website. So like she'll put the top ones for, let's say plantar fasciitis. You want to go on there, look up plantar fasciitis. She gives you like 2 remedies for plantar fasciitis. Well, you can probably just start taking those right away and see some results. Pretty much for anything, she'll give you some really good resources on there that you can look at. And then the last one is, and if you're more advanced, it's an app called Synthesis. SYNTHESIS. Synthesis English. So there's lots of different languages that you can get them in. Choose the English one, obviously. Now that one is more advanced, so you're going to need to know how to kind of look up different symptoms, and you can look on YouTube. They give you a good overview of how to use that app. It's about $100. I know it's expensive. I use it every single day. It's just really, Sarah uses it all the time, right? Or uses it sometimes, I'm sure, but you can cross-reference a lot of really detailed symptoms. So if it's like, okay, my child has a runny nose and it's green discharge, you're going to look up green discharge from the nose, and then they have this hacking, barking cough. You put that in there, and maybe another symptom, and then you just cross-reference. This program will do it for you. It'll look up hundreds of remedies and then come up with your top 3 to try. So that's a really good one. Also, combination remedies are great. So in a pinch, I mean, you can go to your local natural store or on Amazon and stock up on, Highlands cold and cough, oscillococcinum for flu type symptoms that you can find. That's that orange and white box. You can get, like I think there's even strep throat, like Boiron has different throat remedies or earache remedies. So what they do is they'll put in your top 5 or 6 remedies and they put them into a combo. So those are really helpful. Let's see, and Facebook, I mean, just to find resources with just looking up on Facebook and asking people on my group or other groups, say, hey, what's a good remedy for, my son hurt his shoulder and he can't hardly move it. Does anybody have any recommendations? So just don't be afraid to try different things and ask people what to use. Let's see. Okay, so I want to kind of give you guys a little assignment here. try to find some remedies to just, try here. So let's see. Well, no, maybe I don't want to. Sorry, I'm looking over my notes. Muscle test with arm. Okay, so now we're going to kind of get into the muscle testing part. Well, one other thing is kits I wanted to go over. So you can find a kit that are really good. You can find like a Helios has a good kit of 36 remedies. So Helios is Helios. I would recommend, you can get that on Amazon. I think it's like $70 or something. It's got 36 of your top remedies in there. I really like, let's see, this group called Natural Health Supply. And this is a kit that I have. I still use it to this day. It's called Homeopathic Professional Kit 1. So they have different kits. And this has your top 100 remedies. So you're pretty much getting them for like $2 each. Whereas if you go to the store, you're going to have to pay $7, something like that each. So the company is called Natural Health Supply. And it's Homeopathic Professional Kit 1. And I would recommend getting a 30C kit. Now, if you already have a lot of 30Cs because you built them up over time, get a 200C kit, or maybe even a 1M kit. That's the next step up. But having those remedies on hand is going to be really helpful as you try to do homeopathy at home. Let's see. Okay, so how to muscle test. Now, muscle testing, some people think it's kind of weird because, you're pushing on your arm or you're doing the sway. But essentially, like I said, homeopathy is frequency medicine. Your body interacts with frequencies all the time. Our phones are run on frequencies, or internet, all these different things. They're all around us all the time. So I remember one time when my homeopath, Kyron, he told me to, I had some really itchy eyes as I was going through allergy treatment. He said to me, go to the natural store and get these 3 remedies. And before you buy one, hold each one in your hand for 20 seconds. Whichever one makes your eyes stop itching, then take that one. And I was like, just holding it in my hand? Are you kidding me? That sounds crazy. But he had helped me so much that I just trusted him and did what he told me to do. So I went to the store and I remember picking up the first one. I'm looking around like, this looks stupid, I held it and my eyes were extremely itchy at that point. I didn't feel any change. I'm like, okay, whatever, putting it back. I don't even know why I'm doing this. I pick up the second one and I just stand there holding it from counting to 20. And during that 20 seconds, my eyes start feeling cold and the itch goes away within that 20 seconds of waiting. And I thought, whoa, what is this? And I look at the name. I don't even remember what it was. And I put it down. And the moment I put it down, my eyes started itching again. I was like, what was that? So through the bottle even. Okay, I know it sounds crazy. So then I pick up the 3rd remedy and I held it in my hand for 20 seconds. I didn't feel anything. So I put it back. I bought the second one, took it home. And when I got home, took the remedy. And within about 20 seconds, my eyes started getting cold. And it started going away. So that being said, your body, when you hold a remedy in your hand, it feels something. You may not feel something right away, but somebody muscle testing, you can feel strength. That's why when your arm is strong, when you hold a remedy, it means it's going to make you stronger. It's going to help you in some way. Okay. So when somebody pushes on your arm and you're holding a remedy and it makes you just fall, your arm just falls down, it's not going to help you. It's like your body's like, this is doing nothing for me. So, yeah, that's how muscle testing works. And it's kind of like your body, your muscles get a jolt in the fascia and the muscle. That's why you get this strength. Now, when you're testing somebody, always test with the strongest guess first. So if you have like 6 remedies and you feel like, oh, this pulsatilla, I think is going to be the one. It sounds like it fits my issues really well. Like it hits most of them. Well, I would start with pulsatilla in your test group. And then use the other ones to test afterwards. Because what you want to do is you want to give your body that jolt first. So you want to give it kind of something that's going to measure everything else against it. Okay. And that's going to help you to be able to figure out what remedies you need. Because if you start with one that's kind of weak and then you're like, I don't know, is my arm holding strong or is it not? I don't know. And you're doing it with a lot of people do their husband. And their husband's like pushing, they're like, you're pushing too hard. Or you're not pushing hard enough. And I don't know, she does it so easily. And maybe she's pushing on a different spot in the arm. You know, it gets kind of complicated. So I'm going to go over with you guys. Hopefully Sarah can help me out, just show you how to do it. And then I'm going to have her do it on me, which I don't think she's ever done before. So just to show you guys how, from somebody who's, now she's muscle tested with her kids and stuff, but so anyway, we're going to do that a second here. And also another little tip is if you test, let's say we test, you know, she tests me on 10 remedies and 6 of them are strong. We'll keep going. So test those 6 again. If you're like, I can't give her 6 remedies, I mean, that's kind of crazy. Then test those 6 again. Your body will eventually keep dropping and dropping until you get to 1. Okay. Now you can get to 1 and just take that one, and that'll be then I would probably test the other ones again. But I remember telling my homeopath that I think I tested somebody one time when I was just trying things, and it was like I tested them on 15 different remedies and 12 of them came out strong. And I was like, well, then what? I can't give them 12 things. He said, keep going, do it again. I tested 12 and then I got 6. I tested 6, I got 3. Test those 3 and I got 1. So then you give them the 1, then you test them all again. Now, sometimes the body needs multiple remedies. So you might go back and feel like, okay, now all of a sudden I got 3 or 4 that are coming up. Test those 3 or 4 again. If it comes up 2, test those 2 again. You're just continuing to narrow it down. You're kind of just, it's like you're asking the body, okay, which one's going to be best? Okay, then you offer it again. Okay, which, now you kind of felt all of them. Which one now? Which ones do you really want? So we're going to do that really quickly here. And Sarah actually has, you have a knee issue or something right now, right?
Yeah, you asked me to help you because I was like, oh, my knee hurts.
Hey. Okay, so we're going to just do this then. I'm going to look up, let's see, knee pain. Which knee is it?
It's left knee.
Okay, left knee. I don't know if this is, I don't even know if it's in this book, knee pain. It might be, it might not be. Usually what I would look up, actually, if somebody wants to look up Dr. Homeo for me, and then look up knee pain. So I found here joint pain. But yeah, I know Dr. Homeo has some good ones for knees. Okay.
Knee pain.
Do you see a knee pain for the right knee at all?
Well, see, sometimes Dr. Homeo, you got to go way down.
Yeah, you do. They'll give an explanation first, and then they'll start to give the remedies.
Knee pain, worsening during the night. This is talking about osgood scapular disease. Do I need to keep going further down?
Do you mind if I borrow it?
But sometimes on Dr. Homeo, I'll type in whatever, like even if it's something about the ear.
Yeah.
And it'll come up talking about something completely different, nose, tonsils, whatever. But if you keep going, then you get to the
Yeah, keep going. So get to where he talks about which remedies he recommends. Okay. So yeah, knee pain in adolescence. No, so that's more like, so then I'm just going to look up knee because that's not really what we're looking for. Stiff knees. Okay, that'd be more like what we're looking for. So it says stiff knees. Now it depends on why, you know, did you fall or have an injury?
I felt like I held it in the same position I was driving for a while, and so it just got stiff and got in that position, and it just, I don't know, it's just a soreness in the front and behind it. It's
okay,
weird.
So yeah, the stiff knee would be good. So Rustox is number 1, which is like the squeaky gait kind of remedy. So I'm going to put that in my basket here. Rustox. So next one, Bryonia. Okay, so I'm going to put that in. Causticum. So I'm just pretty much going to put all of them, since I'm going to muscle test for it. I'm going to put them all in there. Ledum. Okay. carb, and ruta. Do you? Nice. Colocynthis and berberis. Oh, yeah. Okay. Pulsatilla and lycopodium. Okay, he's given a lot, but only 10, so that's all right. Pulsatilla, lycopodium, and sulfur. Let's see, pulsatilla, lycopodium, and sulfur. Now, it doesn't matter what potency you test. So if you have all different potencies, it doesn't matter. Thank you very much. Just pick out whatever, because you're just asking the body, does my body need this remedy? It doesn't matter what strength it's in. Okay. So what I do now is I usually have 3 baskets. You could have 3 bowls or whatever you want. Okay. I'm going to put my top guess first, which is the number 1 rust tox. Rust tox and ruta are actually usually really good for this type of issue. I'm going to put those 2 in this basket. We're going to do those first. I'm going to turn this camera so we can make sure to see. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is she's going to hold it first in her hand like this. Okay, and put your arm out. Now you put it about, right about where your shoulder is, a little bit lower. Make sure everybody can see that. Okay. Now I'm going to push on the arm. You can just turn your arm a second so I can show everybody where I'm pushing. Pushing right here in the middle of her forearm. Okay. My arm's going to kind of go across it. It's kind of like this. Okay. It's like my thumb is going on the side. My pointer finger's on the top. The other fingers are around. Okay. Try it on your own arm if you want to, or somebody else's. Okay. So, and I'm right there in the middle of the arm. I'm not going too close to the wrist. I'm not going too close to the elbow, right in the middle. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Now I'm going to tell her to hold. And I'm going to say, when I say hold your arm up as strong as you can. Don't let me push it down. Because some people will just drop it, and hold it as long as you can too. So some people hold and let it go. Don't do that. Don't let them do that. Okay, so go ahead and hold. So that's strong. All right. And go ahead and hand it back. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to keep this in my strong group. So I put that one first, like I said. So everything else here is going to be measuring against that. That's its standard. Okay, so now we're going to the next one. And hold. No. So that one, what I feel is a little jiggle. Okay. I feel a little bit of a jiggle, and then all of a sudden it drops. And if anybody, Janet, would you like to try it? Try to feel the difference? Just try to push on her arm.
Okay.
Okay, because I can tell one is stronger than the other. So come on this side. And hold your,
Like this?
so you're going to turn towards her.
Okay.
Yep, use your right hand.
This way.
Yep,
Yes,
that way.
okay.
And then tell her hold.
Okay, hold.
Good. Do you feel the difference? That one bounced back at you. So that's a strong one.
feel it.
Okay. Now here's this one that was a no before.
Hold.
Okay, do you feel it kind of jiggled and went down?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. So you feel what it feels like.
Hard to push too,
Yeah.
because I think I don't push hard enough, and then
Yeah. A lot of times people don't.
Yeah.
They won't be pushing hard enough, or sometimes they push too fast. You're kind of just waiting to feel something push back at you, and then you stop and you let go. So you're not just going to sit and crank on their arm until it goes down. You're going to be like, oh, I felt something push back on me, and kind of let up. But you're going to push with some force. Okay, so now we're going to go with the other ones. We're going to see what comes up here. And hold. And you're always kind of facing the person. Okay. So that was a no. Okay, so I'm kind of facing her. Her right arm is lined up with my right arm. Now, if you need to use the other arm, that's fine. You can do that. You're going to go again. No. So that was a no. That was a yes. Okay, and you could sometimes even see the person's arm go up a little bit higher.
Yeah, felt that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, shoot. Now, which one was it?
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah. I'm just making sure. I'm pretty sure. Okay, pulsatilla. So we know about that. That's a good.
she tells me pulsatilla,
I know, great, great. We know that it hurts in different ways, right? It's like constitutional.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Katie.
you're good.
We haven't done this in a while.
You know? Okay. So Sarah and I, we know I muscle tested her many times, so I don't even really have to say hold anymore. I just, here, hold. No. Okay. So those two, what I would do is give her those remedies. Okay, now if you have more than one potency, let's say you have some 30 Cs and you have a 200 C and one. Now you can actually test for potency too. Or you can just give her these two remedies. She's probably gonna need them. Now Sarah has a lot of different potencies, so she'd probably go home and take out all of her rust tox potencies and test them starting at the highest one first. Okay, and she'd probably test them and see which one she needs and double check and make sure. But if you just have one potency of a 30 C, then just use that. Now, one thing is when you use rust tox, and let's say it gets worse. Well, that's a good thing too. So some people are like, oh, it made it worse and I shouldn't be taking it. No, that's actually a sign that you're probably on the right track. The body's being stimulated to heal her knee or whatever's going on. Okay. Now, let's say it gets better for a few hours and then the pain comes back really badly. Well, a lot of times I'll tell people take things, if you muscle tested for it, take things as needed. Okay, so if it gets better for a few hours and then comes back, take it again after a few hours. Now let's say the pain goes away for 2 days and then it comes back again. Take it again on that 2-day mark. Now, as long as it's actually helping you. So if you're taking it again and again and you're like, nothing's happening now. Should I keep taking more of it? No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't be taking it at all anymore. You don't see any progress, any change at all, better or worse. So if it does get worse though, I would probably take it again in like 3 to 4 hours. So when you have a 30 C, between actually 3 to 4, 3 to 5 hours is pretty good to take something. If you muscle tested for it, if you feel like you know that's a remedy that you need. But you can also in 3 to 4 hours muscle test it again. And if it doesn't come up, then just let your body be. Don't keep taking it. So definitely. Now I'm going to let Sarah also test me. I picked some remedies that I might need. And we're going to see now she can, I don't think you've ever done it, but with me. I just want her to show you guys a different way. So just go ahead and test those. Okay, so I'm going to hold as strong as I can. No, I couldn't hold that one up. Now I'm trying as hard as I can. No. I haven't been tested in a while. I usually just am the one testing. No. Good news, right? I'm homeopath. I shouldn't need too much.
Oh,
that one was strong. So she felt, what did you feel?
No, I just couldn't move you. I mean, it actually kind of hurt me, even trying.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes your arm kind of bounce back a little bit. Argentum nitricum, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's one I've needed a lot lately. I thought that
Everybody Googles.
what's wrong with her? Okay. No, it's because I was a little nervous for him. So Argentum nitricum is good for that. Anticipatory anxiety.
Can you just hand it out?
We can all have some. No. Good. One more. No. Okay. So that one, and that one I actually thought I probably would need, but Sarah didn't know that.
No.
But my body did. My body responded to it like, yes, please give me more of that. I need it. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on this part of it? I'm going to do the sway test too, but I want to give you a chance while we do the muscle testing. And if you have a question and you're online, feel free to unmute yourself. Okay, we'll move on to the sway. Okay, now I'm going to show you with the sway how you can do that in a different way. So if you feel like you've tried the arm and you can't get it, some people tell me that I tried it with my husband, we just couldn't figure it out. Okay, that's fine. There's another way for you to do it. Now the sway test is pretty much we're using the muscles either in your back or your legs. So we just use the muscles in your arms, right, to figure that out. There's other muscle groups that we can use also. So you can do it standing up. I prefer to do it sitting because then I have more, I'm not like leaning or swaying one way or the other anyways, just because I'm standing. So sometimes I'll do it sitting. So what everybody to do is just kind of sit where you are and try to not let your body be too erect, but at the same time, don't let it be all hunched over, kind of in the middle. Kind of have your hands on your legs legs uncrossed. And everybody, we're just, after I'll show you what to do. So when your body, if something is true or something is, you know, a remedy is going to work for you, the muscles are going to get stronger and you kind of go forward. So forward is your yes, backwards is your no. Okay. So I can sit here and say to my body, I'm just saying to my body, my name is Katie. My body will sway forward. Okay. I can say, my name is Roger. My body goes back. Okay. And your body, you'll be surprised, can do the same thing. So we're all human beings. So I want you to just sit there and you can, some people close their eyes, some people just leave them open, but you're just going to say to yourself, my name is, okay, and say your name. All right. And then if you'll feel kind of what I want to tell people is you feel a little bit of a, like a pull or a heaviness in your face. It's like right in your eyes and your nose area, you'll just feel like something's kind of pulling you forward. That's your yes. And it might just be a very slight pull. Okay. And it might take you like 20 seconds to feel anything. Because my very first time doing muscle testing, I had so many trapped emotions to release through like emotion code that it took me like 45 seconds to feel my yes and no. So now I can do it right away because I'm a lot healthier now. Or if you're like really tired, it's not going to work very well. If you're really, Janet's like, darn it, I'm out. If you're really sick or really stressed out or angry, it's going to take a little longer. Okay. So try to be in like a calm state when you try it. Okay. So everybody right now, I'm going to give you a second to just say, my name is, and just kind of say it to yourself or say it out loud. And just wait to see.
I mean, it's possible to just think it, right?
Yeah,
You might say it to
yeah,
yourself, and
I think so. I usually have to say it out loud. Did anybody feel a pull forward?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, some of you? Did anybody not feel anything? No, nothing? No, that's okay if you didn't. It may be that it's going to take, you might be one of those 45 to 60-second people. You might also have to say it out loud, okay? So let's try it again, but now we're going to do the negative, okay? So when you feel the no answer, it's kind of like something like pulling you from behind your eyes and your nose, or you feel a heaviness kind of just pulling you back a little bit. So you're going to say something that's not true, okay? My name is Roger. My name is Wendy, whatever. Just go ahead and try that and wait and see what you feel. You could say it out loud if you could. Okay, did anybody feel that one? You felt that one? Okay. Also, you might need water. Some people need to be drinking a little bit more water before they do the test. So if you don't feel anything, drink more water, try to relax, try it again. And try to get used to that yes and no by asking yourself other things. So what I usually would do is like ask myself things that are obviously yes or no. So I might say something like, water's good for me. Yes, it is. We all know that, right? Refined sugar is good for me. No. My body's like, no, it's not. I love my kids. Yes. I hate my kids. No, you don't. It knows. So your body knows this. Now this is just giving you, a tool that you can use on pretty much anything. You can muscle test yourself and sway test or with the arm. Supplements, if you want to do essential oils, if you want to do remedies, if you want to test foods, that your body might need or not need. So you can do a lot of different things. Now I can also, when I do remedies, okay, so I'm going to start with my Argentum nitricum. So you go home, let's say you picked out 4 remedies for yourself. And you're like, I wonder which one is going to be the best one for me. Okay, pick your top pick first and hold it in your hand and say, do I need Argentum nitricum right now? Yes, obviously I do. She just tested me on it, right? So put that one aside. Go through the next one. Do I need Rus toxidendron right now? No. Now, like I said, if you have to wait 30 seconds, 45 seconds to feel your yes and no on the remedy, just wait. Your body will respond positively or negatively to that. Okay. Do I need the remedy of berberis right now? No. Okay. So you're just going to go through and start to separate and sort that way. So that's a really great way. Now, some people do it standing up. I like to just, like I said, sit down. Now you can also do, if you feel like you've tried everything, you've waited 60 seconds, I'm not feeling anything at all. You might need to go find somebody who does either emotion code or EMDR. So if you need to write that down, emotion code or EMDR. Because like I said, for me, I did not feel anything at first. Once I did emotion code therapy, which released trauma from the body, I think I did it 3 visits before I finally felt like I could muscle test, because I just wasn't getting any response. It was like the body was too clogged up to be able to, but funny, I could use the arm, but the sway I couldn't do. And Sarah had the same thing happen with her. And it was probably, we'd done therapy, maybe emotion code 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she was like, oh, it's working now. I got it now. I got the forward, the negative and positive.
I've never been able to do it the standing way.
Yeah.
For one reason or another, but like doing this, it's still not much. Like I didn't do this, but I could feel the slightest.
You feel a little bit of a pull.
Just the slightest thing, and I couldn't for a long time. I tried it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just try. I like it that way. The sitting sway. It's
You're
easier.
not thinking about your body.
You're not thinking about, is my body
Yeah,
actually just leaning one
yeah.
way? I can control it. Is my balance
I think
off?
that's my
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're sitting in a controlled way. And if I'm doing it standing, I'll usually hold myself to do it, to then really feel which way it's going. So try to, I have people that will get confused by that. Sometimes people will actually test it twice. So they'll go through and, take their 4 remedies, and they've got them sorted, and they'll mix them up again, and they'll test them again to make sure they get the same results. Okay. That's a good way to double check yourself. Make sure it's not, and also try not to think what you think it's going to be, because that will influence your body swaying one way or the other. If you're like, oh, I need this one, and you sit and go, do I need this one? Your body might actually, because you're believing it so much, might actually go forward when it's actually maybe not. So try to be totally unbiased when you're doing this way, to just be like, maybe I need it, maybe I don't know, but I'm going to, see what comes up.
And do you want to sit without a back support or just like on planner?
I always sit, like I'm in this chair a lot while
You have your
testing.
back sheet of
Yeah,
back support?
yeah.
Okay.
It's supported. Now I'm not like way like, sitting back like that,
Okay.
but just I kind of hold myself in the middle so I have room to sway one way or the other. But yeah, when I first started, it was just very subtle. I just felt
Yeah,
a
I didn't
tiny
even
little,
feel my shoulders or anything moving. I just
It
felt
was
my
right
head
here.
wanna nod forward. Yeah.
it was just something was like when you feel real tired or something, like a heaviness right here or like heaviness going back. Okay. So now what you can do is you can actually test other people with this way. So let's say I'm with Sarah and her arms are sore. Okay, I can go over to her and I can put this on her and I can say, does Sarah need, hold on, which one is it? Oh, yeah, does Sarah need Rust taxidendrin? And I will sway for her because I'm asking about her and I've got it touching her. Okay, so that's a yes. We know she needs it. Then I go to another one. Does Sarah need argentum nitricum? No, she doesn't. That's one I needed, but she doesn't. Because I'm asking now for her. I needed it, but she doesn't. Does Sarah need the remedy of berberis right now? No, she doesn't.
That's how you would do babies or little kids. right?
Yeah,
If I was
anybody.
holding
Holding a
the
baby,
and I'm-
you put it on them and you ask for them. Okay, does Sarah need the remedy of calcarea carbonicum right now? No. Also, another important thing is to ask right now. I usually will ask when I'm doing the sway test, because sometimes your body, it might need a lot of remedies sometime, but like right now, does it need that remedy, for this situation? Because then it will kind of narrow down your remedies that actually come up. It might pull instead of like 6 to 7, your body might actually choose 2 or 3. It's like, yeah, right now I need this, maybe later I'll do that task. So asking your body for remedies is also like asking your body if it can do a task. Okay, so you don't want to overwhelm with too many remedies. So like if somebody goes to the store and they get Highlands cold and cough because they got a cold and a cough, but then they also get Highlands sore throat. They also get Highlands earache. Do you know how many remedies you're giving your body at the same time? Each combination has maybe 5 or 6 remedies in it. So that might be 20 remedies. That's like telling somebody who comes to work on your house for like 2 hours, you say, okay, I want you to do this, 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 this. And you're giving them like 20 things to do. They're going to be like, I don't know. Yeah, it's too many things. So you want to usually choose between 1 to 3 remedies, tasks for the body to do at a time. Okay. Now you can also use the muscle testing with the arm on someone else. So let's say in the same way, like Jenna's saying, there's a baby and I want to test the baby, but the baby can't hold their arm up, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to take the remedies and have the mother put the remedy on the baby's skin, okay? And then hold her arm out, and we're testing because the remedy's touching the baby. And you can even ask, does this baby need this remedy right now before you push on their arm? You know, so you're making sure that you're testing for the baby and not for the mom. And sometimes actually what I'll do is to show the mother or the father that it was the remedy for them, for the baby and not them. I'll take the baby, let's say the baby needs pulsatilla. In the very end, that's their top remedy. Then I'll take the baby, they'll put them down in their car seat or whatever, and the mom will hold the remedy for herself. And most of the time, almost 100%, the mom will not need that. Her arm will go down. Put the baby back on the lap again with that remedy on their belly or their arm or skin, and they'll be strong. So there's ways you can use the arm to test someone else and yourself, and use the sway the same way. Okay, let's see. Now, always remember how the body heals. So there's different ways that things can get worse before better. So let's say you go online and you want to look up eczema. Your granddaughter or whoever has really bad eczema. You're like, I'm going to try remedies for this. Well, that's a tricky one because things get worse before better in homeopathy. As your body heals, the skin is the body's natural ventilation system. So it wants to push things out that are internal. And actually, eczema heals from bottom to top, from inside to outside. So if you see, like, let's say you tried sulfur and you muscle tested that person for sulfur and a 30C and they start taking it. Now for chronic stuff, you actually want to probably give like a 30C every other day. You don't really want to do every 5 hours or even every day. If it's a chronic issue like eczema, or let's say they have IBS or depression or whatever that's chronic, you're not going to give that remedy every day. Give it every other day in a 30C for 1 month is pretty good. So that's kind of my standard protocol for chronic stuff. Now, if you've muscle tested on it, even better, you know. Now, if you're just trying it out, or like, this sounds like a good fit, let's do it every other day for 30 days and in a 30C. You can do that, but you might be wasting your time. So I would muscle test it first to make sure that the body's going to have a reaction. And that's why I think that this way of doing homeopathy has been so successful, because we can tailor it to that person's body. Like if they're not going to react to it, there's a lot of times I might muscle test somebody for a remedy that does, you know, that I thought, oh, this is going to be their top one for sure. And it doesn't test at all. I'll offer it to them and their body just, their arm falls. And so we're wrong sometimes. And so that's why the muscle test can help just confirm that for you. So let's say you're doing, you know, eczema with your grandchild. Those rashes will get worse. Now I'll tell people, best thing you can do is when your body's detoxing, to let them scratch what itches. So if your rashes start to itch, and let's say you had a rash on your arm and all of a sudden you take a remedy, just breaks out all over your upper body. Well, the best thing you can do is scratch that rash. Okay. It sounds like opposite to what we've always been told. Or actually heating it up. So taking a hot bath every few days with Epsom salt and baking soda. Yeah, Maribel has some experience. Her little boy has some of that. Her little boy had eczema. But yeah, like really you're helping the body to do what it's already trying to do. So if the body's trying to push something out, you're like, here, let me help you pull it out. Let's heat you up. Let's itch it to help the pores open up. And you're going to see oozing. That's good. Now, we don't really want you to be bleeding and stuff, you know, so try to scratch it as lightly as possible, but you want the body to push things out that doesn't want to have inside. Yeah, noses can get runnier. If you're doing if you're trying to do some allergy work with remedies, I mean, I've had kids walk out of this office, they came in without a runny nose, but we're working on their allergies, and they leave their nose just pouring down. And I'm like, that's great. You know, the mom is like, why is that great? Now it's worse. And we just got them feeling better. I'm like, because we're getting it permanently pushed out of the body. That's what we want to see. We want to see things, you know, the body pushing them out. Let a fever ride. I hardly ever treat fevers and things like that. Just, you know, that's all good for the body. So that's how the body heals. And if it gets too high, you can, if you feel, you know, like you're in 104 range, you can use the remedy belladonna to pull it down a little bit if you need to. But I think our bodies, mostly what you don't want to look at is numbers as much as how the person is. Are they lucid? Are they able to answer a question? You know, as a kid, when you ask them, hey, are you feeling okay? Do they actually kind of respond to you? Or are they just like not there? You know, are they drinking water? You know, they're probably not going to be eating, but are they still drinking water? Are they still lucid? Those are the more important things to look for. Yeah, so how often? Test, I would muscle test every 5 hours and then 4 to 5 hours in an acute issue. Now you may need to sometimes change remedies. So let's say you all of a sudden see that this person's cough is really wet and barking, and then the next day it's really dry. And it just seems to be like, they're like really spasmodic kind of cough. You might need to change your remedies altogether. Don't stick with the search you did the day before. Change it, you know. So then look up in your book or on Dr. Homeo or wherever, cough that's dry and, you know, spasmodic cough. So you might need to change the remedies you look at too if nothing's working. Let's see. Oh, there's also great remedies for, you know, first aid type of things like burns, cuts, trauma, things like that. Now, if you feel like you have a lot of different issues, the best thing is honestly to go see a homeopath, because they're going to be able to really dig into your case and see you for long term and see kind of what you need. Now, also, some things are going to take a long time, and you have to really realize that in homeopathy that it's not a quick fix. It can be sometimes. It can, like sicknesses can be really quick. It can actually be, some people are like, well, strep throat can't really be fixed with homeopathy, can it? It's probably doesn't work, or you need antibiotics. I would say no, it actually works better than antibiotics most of the time. I've seen strep throat be gone in 3 hours, like no pain, nothing, gone. Whereas some people might go to the doctor and get on antibiotics for 3 or 4 days until the pain starts getting better. So it can be something that works a lot more quickly than your modern medicine. Now, but other chronic issues can take a long time. So you might have, you know, like for me, my treatment took probably 4 years. Now that sounds like a really long time. Other people, you know, it's taken a year or 2 years. Just, you have to think of the amount of time that you've spent with that chronic issue. Now, let's say it's inherited. Well, that's even longer. Okay, so for me, I had allergies. Both my parents had allergies. Their parents had allergies. It took me 8 months to get rid of my allergies. And even the next year, I had to deal with them again a couple times with remedies. And then now they've been gone for years. I haven't had any problems with them. And I don't have to keep taking anything. They're just gone. But just really try to look towards like the long term, and homeopathic treatment kind of goes like up and down like this, but you're slowly going, you know, upwards in your treatment. Let's see. Now, if you also going up in potency is something that I'd like to talk about, because some people don't realize, they're like, well, what's the potency? Maybe I should, my cough is really bad, so I probably need a 1M potency, which I'll give you the scale here. So this is in your C scale. You're going to start with your lowest is like a 12C, That's your lowest. Usually, well, you can go to a 6, but usually you don't need to go lower than a 12. So 12C is your lowest. Then 30C is the next one. Then 200C. Then 1M, that's your 1000C. Then 10M, which is 10,000. Then you have CM, which is 100,000, so CM. Then you have MM, which is 1,000,000 C. And that's usually the highest you'll see on any website to buy. Sometimes they don't even go that high, but like Helios. So here's some good pharmacies too to get a hold of. I like Helios out of London. Helios Homeopathy. I think they range about $8 to $9 per remedy if you need to get some there. Now I like Helios because if you won't see it on their website, but if you private message them, you can get remedies to do vaccine detox on your own. So they're called polyvaccines. That's a really good one. If anybody who's ever had a vaccine most likely needs that remedy at some point. And that can help a lot of different issues. You can also get a remedy, like let's say you had to be on antibiotics for pneumonia. Well, get the antibiotics remedy. It's called polyantibiotics. It's a combination of 8 of the top different antibiotics, and it will help your body heal from the damage that it caused. So you have to private message Helios to get these. But as I said before, you could take a 30C every other day for a month, and you would see a lot of good results with that. You can also do one for polysteroids. Let's say you had to be on an inhaler, or you had to take some steroid creams or something like that. So polysteroids is a really good one to get your hands on. Another good one everybody should have, uranium nitricum. Uranium nitricum. That's good for radiation. So let's say you had to have x-rays, or you had to have a CAT scan or a mammogram, or you just were on your phone all weekend, and you've been, uranium nitricum.
That would be one of the messages also.
Now that one should be for sale on their website directly. You wouldn't need to message them for that. Let's see. Yeah, those are all really good, like detox type remedies. I think everybody needs that. Every person could benefit from those. There's another one that you'd have to email them for. Sorry, it's called polycontractives. So let's say you're on birth control for 5 years of your life. Now, even if you're not on it now, if you were, it did something to your body. It messed up your hormones somehow. So those are really good ones. Another one that I think most people need, if you have allergies or asthma or eczema, you need a remedy called Sorinum, which is PSORINUM.
What did you say that was for?
Sorinum, allergies, eczema, and asthma. P. Looks like Sorinum. Now that one, if it's a really good match, you will get worse before better. So just be aware that allergies will get worse, lung issues will get worse, but it's a really deep healing when I see it. I use it probably with every client almost.
What would you use after pneumonia?
What would I use after pneumonia? I would use one to strengthen the lungs. So it's called Carcinosinum lungs. And actually, Sarah here.
I just realized what Sarah, which Sarah you
Yeah.
are, Janet.
Yes, I was thinking I don't know when she called you that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
So Sarah,
I need that one. You can have that one.
she's kind of like helping me out with remedies here, and we've been working together because I have a lot of people that want to get remedies and I don't have time to either. I have a machine that can make them, the same machine that she has. I don't have time to do that part of the business. So I said to Sarah, and she's been doing homeopathy with me for years. I said, would you mind kind of if I could, direct them to you and you could get remedies that people need? Because there's so many remedies you can't get here in Longview. And she's been doing that. And especially COVID, when COVID came up, there's so many great preventative COVID remedies. And there's a combo out there it's called Qvir that I just couldn't get my hands on anywhere. It would sell out everywhere we got. So everywhere I looked. So finally I got a hold of one, was able to get it to Sarah, and we were able to, you can copy it and it's just as good as the original. And so she was able to get a lot of people with the COVID prevention remedy. And then you can also use that post treatment. So like, let's say that the person's done with COVID and they're still having some effects from it. You can use that remedy for that also, or during, the virus, can use it to get rid of it. Now for like pneumonia type stuff, I would actually work with a combo that Sarah has. What is it called?
The lung combo.
A lung combo. Okay. So that has your carcinosin of lungs, which is from a lung cancer cell, which doesn't have any lung cancer in it. It's just the frequency, like I talked about before, of lung cancer, which what it does is the opposite to what lung cancer does. Lung cancer is weakening the body. We want to strengthen the weakness. So we're using the opposite. Okay. A lot of carcinosinum remedies are really good for that. So if you have like brain fog, you're going to use carcinosinum brain. If you have gut issues, carcinosinum bowel is a great one to use. Any kind of issue you have, if you take that organ, and those are actually on Helios too. So carcinosinum bowel is on Helios. So if you have gut issues, food allergies, IBS, constipation, I would do that one for sure. Carcinosinum brain, if somebody has Alzheimer's, if they have memory issues or brain fog, carcinosinum brain.
You buy that by the case.
You buy it in little, I know, right? Yeah. You buy it in a little and if you go on Helios, you're going to buy 30C, 4 grams is usually their smallest bottle, and you won't need more than that. Trust me, they come in, and then get the granule size pellets. Those are pretty small, and you only need two pellets to make a dose. So if you get the granules, you just need 2 of them.
Is that for all of them, or?
Yep.
So any remedy, you should take 2 pellets usually?
No, it depends on the size. So if you get the granule size, then you need 2. They're little. Yeah, it's like a little sprinkle if you think about size of like a sprinkle of it, Now, if you think of like a size of a BB, those bigger ones that you get in those plastic tubes at your local natural store, you just need 1 of those. Yeah. So 1 or 2, usually that's about all you need. So Sarah, if you want to get in touch with her at all, she sells those combos. So we have her and I kind of got together and looked at different combos for gut and lungs and brain and what other ones?
We did a colon, a skin, a sinus, an energy, a mental, lung, if I did already say that. Yeah, there's like 8 different combos that we did.
So the lung one I had is already.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And we put some other ones in there too.
And the mental health?
Yes.
It's already have it, okay.
Yes. And then even the others that you mentioned, all the carcinogens, I have those too.
Yeah. So if you don't have to go to Helios, you can go to Sarah. She has those too. But either way, and she'll have all those detox ones too for about the same price.
On that lung combo, is that one of those that will get worse before it gets better? Like
Yes. Mhm. Yep. So like if you have asthma or, pneumonia or different things like that, your husband went through that. It may get worse before better.
So now like he's taking it after
Yeah.
the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still good to do?
Yeah, definitely.
To help
Strengthening it, especially if he's feeling like tightness in the lungs or on oxygen, wheezing or weakness in the lungs.
That energy, getting our energy back.
Yeah, you're getting energy back. There's a really good one for that. Yeah. So that's your Kelly carbonicum, your silicea, those kind of strengthening post sickness type remedies. But yeah, those are all really
What
good.
about the COVID vaccine and spike protein?
Yeah.
Is there a remedy for that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So COVID vaccine, spike protein, she's asking. If you've had the vaccine, I would recommend getting that's from Helios or from Sarah. So like, let's say you got the Pfizer vaccine, you can get COVID Pfizer vaccine 30C, And you take that, like I said, every other day for a month. Now, let's say you're around somebody who had the vaccine within 3 weeks. Now, usually that vaccine can kind of shed spike proteins within 3 weeks of having it. So then you might also want to take that. I've seen people get affected greatly by just someone in their family got the vaccine. And they were like, I had a woman who was bleeding for a month because she was a nurse and she worked with a lot of other nurses who are getting their vaccines. And she'd never had bleeding like that in her life.
Yep.
And all of a sudden she took the vaccine remedy. That next day she stopped. She stopped bleeding and it didn't come back.
And it's for COVID Pfizer vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You have it?
And she has it too. Now you can, spike protein is one that I've seen a lot of lately, people needing that because the spike proteins can be, I mean, even just getting COVID, you have spike proteins in your body. So it's not just being exposed to people who are vaccinated. It's actually, and the more times you get COVID, it starts to accumulate. So I noticed I just got COVID for the 3rd time this past week. Now it wasn't very much at all. It was just like a day of a runny nose and I didn't even get a fever or anything. But I needed the spike protein remedy because I was starting to feel like some soreness in my throat because that's where it will start to collect. Your throat and the lungs. For women, it collects in your reproductive organs. That's why you start to feel like weird bleeding or different cramping, things like that. So I would take spike protein. I would actually test yourself on that every other month and see if you need that remedy. Especially, yeah, and the Pfizer vaccine is good for the boosters too. So people are getting boosters now and they will continue to. I would take that remedy for that.
For 1 month?
Yeah, every other day for 1 month. Yeah, just retest yourself and see if you need it.
Can you have that one too, Sam?
Yeah. She has all the remedies. Every once in a while I'll be like, Sarah, you need this one now too. Get this one, we'll get it for you. Get her going there. Okay. All right. Does anybody have a question? If you have an issue, let's say you're like, yeah, your husband has psoriasis or whatever. I want to give you guys a few minutes here, this last 15 minutes to kind of ask, and I'll tell you like some tips of how to look it up or, you know, different remedies that you might have questions about. So even online, you can definitely unmute yourself and I'll call on you. Or you can also text in questions now. So does anybody have an issue? Oh, somebody just hopped on.
Bad arthritis.
Arthritis?
Mhm.
Arthritis, detox. They need to detox vaccines. Are they elderly?
I don't know, me.
Oh, you, okay. Aurum metallicum is my #1 remedy for arthritis. So do that one, you know, every other day, 30 C, start there. You'll probably get worse. You'll get really achy, especially if you go upper body and then lower body, so deep in the bones. And then the next month, I mean, and the next month, you'll probably need to go up. So like I gave you that scale, the next month do 200 C every other day for 30 days. And if you're still feeling achy, let's say it's 50% better, go up the next month to a 1M, like I said. Now space that out a little more. The higher you go in potency, the more space you want to give to your body. So if you're up in like 1Ms and 10Ms, don't do that every other day. Give that like every 3 to 4 days. Give yourself a little more space to work through that. But yes, I see somebody's unmuted here. Is that Mary?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm going to be traveling probably for the next couple of months, and I have a question about a sleep remedy for different hotel rooms and beds and spaces, and just, you know, being able to settle down in different places. Sometimes that's very challenging for me.
Okay.
And I was,
Well, I would say like if you're, because of being in different places, if you're are you a light sleeper?
well, when I finally fall, I guess I am. When I finally fall asleep, but yes, I actually, you know, I'll sleep at a quiet place with earplugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some good, now you can also look up, if you want to look this up too, I'll give you some tips of my own, but you can look up sleeplessness or insomnia on Dr. Homeo. They'll give you some good remedies there.
Okay.
But as for my own experience, coffea cruda is really good for sleep. It settles you down at night. Now, it's not
Okay.
something like homeopathy is not like a vitamin. You don't want to just be like, I'm just going to take coffea cruda every day like I take vitamin C. It's not
Right.
that way. You really want to only take it for a month, and after that, it's not going to do anything for you unless you go up in potency. But if you
Mhm.
don't need
Okay.
it anymore and you'd also test yourself on it, then I just would stop taking it. Find something else.
Yeah.
Now, another one that's really good for sleep is Nux vomica.
Okay.
And that's just like if you were going through stress of travel and your body just can't settle down, you know, you might want to take that.
Mhm.
And phosphorus is really good for like stress and if the body is a light sleeper, like you might be.
Right. Okay, great. Yeah, like the flight's about 7.5 hours, so anything
Yeah.
that would help that would be great.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. I'm gonna mute you back there again, Mary. Thank you.
Except phosphorus.
Phosphorus. Yeah. Yep. Any question?
High blood pressure.
High blood pressure. Okay, that's a tricky one because high blood pressure is usually because there's swelling in the body. Now, I don't look at swelling the same way other people and inflammation the same way a doctor might look at that. If there's inflammation, there's a reason for it in the body. So what you want to do a lot of times is try to, with a homeopath, deal with whatever inflammation you might have going on. Let's say you're in chronic knee pain, you know, or you have gut issues. Well, there's inflammation which causes the blood pressure to get higher. So that's one that there's not like a go-to fixer upper remedy for that. It's like you probably have some chronic issues that need to be dealt with and the blood pressure should normalize.
What if you're pretty sure it's related to like work environment and that kind of stuff, then you would switch to the an emotional mat?
Yeah, then you'd probably look at some stress remedies. And look up the word for in homeopathy is anxiety. So if you feel like there's stress and anxiety, go on Dr. Homeo and look up anxiety, you know, stress, and try to find those remedies. Those are really good combo I recommend to a lot of people. It's called nerve tonic. And Highlands makes that. I have some women that have that in their purse daily, just in case something really stressful happens. And that's your like, it's your Caliphos, Kelkphos, Nux vomica. It's all your top stress remedies in one combo. So I like to recommend that for people.
You'll take that just once off?
Yeah, just one pellet as you need it. It just kind of helps calm you down. No. Yeah, usually it's just like an as needed kind of thing. I had one client who she gave it to everybody before Thanksgiving because they were always fighting. She's like, here, have this, everyone. And just went around and gave it. She was like, it was the best Thanksgiving ever. Everybody was so calm. Here's your first course. It's called the Chill Remedy. So, okay, I think somebody else submitted a question here. Let me read that off. Oh, she can't unmute. Somebody, can you type it in? Somebody said she can't unmute. Anybody else have a question while we wait?
What about flat feet, chronic pain,
Flat feet, chronic pain from flat feet. I don't know. That's something you might, I mean, there's different remedies for like, plantar fasciitis, where the arch is, you got pain in your heels and stuff like that. You can look that up on Dr. Homeo. I don't remember the ones for that, and just getting arches and things.
What about, I don't know what you would call it other than it's been called being hypermobile, when like the muscles and the tendons around ankles specifically are just so flexible.
Okay.
And we've been doing lots of stuff to try to strengthen braces and.
For your husband?
No,
Oh,
2-year-old
two-year-old.
granddaughter. She's so hyper flexible and hypermobile that she has trouble holding everything straight.
Okay, like her
Nothing shows up wrong in any x-rays or anything. It's just, that's what they call it.
hyper flexible. I would have to look that up in the Synthesis app probably, because that's something more specific. I don't know. You could look it up, hyper flexibility, homeopathy, and see what you find. But yeah. Okay, she has a question, can't unmute. She's gonna try. Anybody else have any questions?
How effective is it for strong pain? Have you had success?
Strong
treating
pains?
people
Oh,
with
yes.
Really significant pain.
Yes.
Pain remedies?
I remember when I had my second child, I had a lot of pain post-birth. And I actually that was one of those situations I thought I needed a 1M. because it was so strong. My hip pain just felt like my hips had been torn apart. And so I took Arnica 1M and it didn't do anything. So that's one thing. If you take a high potency, high potency is kind of like asking the body to do a task it's not really ready, it can't do. It's not going to do anything for you sometimes. So I took that a couple times. I wasn't seeing any difference. Then my homeopath said, try the 30C, go down because it's so recent. So potency, if it's something really recent, that's why you want to go lower. If it's something more chronic, you're going to, you will end up getting up into these higher potencies. So I tried the 30C and within like probably 10 minutes, usually you'll start to see stuff within like 10 minutes. The pain was just gone. And it was stabbing pain and going to like walking around and cleaning the house, and it was totally fine. So yeah, there's really severe pains that can be, you'll be very surprised, quickly gone with homeopathy. Okay, so we got a question here. Okay, the question from Jay. Do you know why a person would become less receptive to homeopathy in general? I've used it since I was very young, but I noticed about 4 years ago, I didn't seem to respond well to any more remedies that used to be extremely effective and fast acting for me. I've since noticed that using any remedy in general doesn't seem to have any real effect on me anymore. Okay, it's a good question. I think radiation has a lot to do with that. I think if people have been exposed to a lot of radiation with cell phones and Wi-Fi and computers and laptops and iPads, the remedies don't work very well. So usually that's the very first remedy that I give anybody on their first visit is uranium nitricum and a 30C. And I just get that to kind of clear it out of the body. And then we start to work with the remedies after that.
That's probably something that you're gonna need from time to
Yes.
time, because even now with the 5G.
Oh yeah,
towers,
5G, it's all.
going to be crazy.
And there's another one called mobile phone. That's by Helios. Sarah also has that. That's also good for people that have their cell phone. They're using their cell phone a lot, which is everyone, right? But I see people, they have a hard time. The remedies don't work with them if they have their phone in their pocket a lot. They sleep with their phone near their bed. If they use a laptop, like mine here is connected with an Ethernet cables. There's no Wi-Fi coming into this room. Now, if you have a computer laptop you need to use a lot and you have Wi-Fi, then get a mouse that's separate, get a keyboard that's separate, and keep it pushed back for your body. Radiation, any kind of radiation or Wi-Fi devices or, Bluetooth, you don't want that near your body. If you're by a modem, at least within 10 feet of a modem for good points, large, points of periods of time, that's going to cancel out remedies. If you're using mint, tea tree oil, menthol, or eucalyptus, I'm going to say those again. Mint, tea tree oil, menthol, or eucalyptus. Those are all what we call antidotes in homeopathy. They will cancel things out. I had a woman, we were working with allergies for her for about 3 months. I wasn't seeing a whole lot of difference. And I was like, this is surprising because she seems pretty healthy overall. And I wasn't seeing anything happening. I kept asking her, are you using this? Are you using this? Are you near your phone? She's like, no to everything. Well, on that 3rd month, she said, you know what I just realized? I use dental floss every night and it has a mint coating. Well, that was canceling it out. Once we switched out that dental floss, the remedies were working full speed and we got her allergies, much better. So look at those things and why remedies might not be working for you anymore. I hope that answer helped.
Can you repeat all the antidotes?
So the antidotes again are mint, tea tree oil, menthol, eucalyptus.
No, coffee. Okay.
Coffee. Some people's, there's a few remedies that don't work well with coffee, and Seridin is one of them, and a couple others. I don't like people drinking coffee or caffeine in general. Anyways, Janet will know that, right?
What?
I was like, Janet, let's do half cap, Janet, this month. Let's do decaf. Let's get you off caffeine. Caffeine steals energy from tomorrow.
I thought I would die, but I just want to say I made it and I switched to decaf and I still drink decaf.
You got that cozy coffee feeling just without hurting your body. So we want to keep you
But
from
the
here.
decaf is okay.
Yeah.
It's just the caffeine. Not the coffee.
Well, some homeopaths will differentiate. I'm not a big like coffee will cancel it out because I haven't seen that really.
Okay.
But I know for sure those other antidotes will do that. So
And that's for the whole time you're taking it. like-
yeah, that's when if you're using that remedy for a month, then don't do that for a month. If you're using that remedy for a month, then don't be sticking the phone by your head or sleeping with it next to your bed or all the radiation stuff either, because it will cancel it out.
So if you forget and you take something, then 2 days later, you can take another remedy.
Yeah, you can put it,
away,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
not cancel it before-
It won't like permanently cancel anything.
Yeah.
Just imagine it's kind of like a pulse going in your body.
Yeah.
And when you antidote yourself in some way, it just stops the pulse from going. So you just put it back in again, start it working again. So anybody else have any questions?
I just thought of one. I work at a dental office and I get kind of nervous when we remove like the amalgam fillings.
Hmm.
So I don't know if there's something you recommend for that, like just when we do it, or like, should I do it like every other month, or I don't know, when you.
Yeah, well, there's a remedy called Mercurius solubilis, which is good for mercury detox.
I like it in the stuff is we work out that.
So, and she works at the dentist's office. That might be one. I mean, if you don't have your gloves or you're exposed to it in some other way, you might want to test yourself on that one every once in a while.
So
You
just
need
need
that.
30C.
Yeah, 30C and just test yourself for it. Now, if you've actually had fillings, that might be something you're going to want to do over months, to get that out. I've actually seen, I had one woman who, gosh, she had like this fibromyalgia type pains, and it was from the amalgam fillings because she'd had them for 50 years. And so imagine every time you chew food, you're getting a little bit of that mercury into your body. And so when we started detoxing it with that remedy, Mercurius solubilis, she started to get these cysts inside of her mouth. And one day she looked at them, it was like on her lip, and it kind of popped, and all of a sudden it sprayed out in her mirror, and it was mercury. You could see it like dripping down her mirror that had come out of her mouth. And it was right near like one of the fillings, one of her biggest fillings. So it definitely plays a part. Mercury, I would definitely try to detox. Aluminum, most everybody needs if you've ever had a vaccine. That one's a real culprit of a lot of problems, especially people with Alzheimer's, learning disabilities, ADHD, autism. Aluminum gets stuck in the brain and it can wreak a bunch of havoc.
Maybe would the polymetals be good for that? Because you get the.
Yeah, polymetals is giving you, your top 8 metals. So yeah, it has aluminum and mercury in there too. But if you really want to isolate, like what I do a lot of times with, those kids with learning disabilities or other people with Alzheimer's and things like dementia, I just go straight for the aluminum because I know it's in the brain, and you start to pull that out. They get headaches, but it's starting to really, the nice thing about homeopathy, it's different than if you do like an herbal detox, because frequencies you're using your own body's healing mechanism to pull and push things out where they're stuck. Whereas herbal stuff, you're only kind of dealing with the digestive tract in some ways. You can get into liver and gallbladder and colon and stuff, but you can't get into the brain like you can with homeopathy.
So what do you do to improve the drainage pathways or open the drainage pathways if you do all these detoxes? Is there a specific remedy you use to help with that, or the body just does it naturally?
The body will do it on its own, but I will tell people while you're detoxing, try to eat as healthy as possible, get as much rest, use heat. So if you're detoxing from your gut and your stomach is hurting, take a heating pad or a hot water bottle, put it wherever is hurting, use heat to help push that through, because the body's using inflammation to push everything through. Drink lots of water, have like bone broth and extra, maybe multivitamin, get a whole food multivitamin to help your body push that through.
But there's not a remedy.
There's not really a remedy to help. There are remedies for like the liver and the kidneys in general. Yeah. So you could do that, but the more you just keep at it, it will, eventually resolve. Not really. I don't know. I'm sure there's a remedy for, lymphatic system, but I don't have that one. There are a lot of organ remedies that are just starting to come out now,
Okay.
but no, I don't have one for that. Anybody else? All right, well, good, 8 o'clock on the dot. So everybody go home and sway and ask questions and go around your house and grab food and ask what your kids need and ask what your family members need. People are gonna think you're crazy, but I tell you, I've seen people in natural grocers grabbing vitamins off the shelf and just swaying. I don't even know them.
You don't have all the remedies.
Yeah, if you don't have them all, you just go to the store and grab them and do I need this? And you'll be like, oh, like you're kind of crazy. But and then next month, I'm actually going to be doing a class called Homeopathy for Emotions. And I'm going to mix that with teaching you how to use emotion code and teaching you how to use EMDR, which is releasing trauma from the body, which those are really powerful therapies that I think work well with homeopathy and just giving you some good emotional type remedies and going through them and for trauma and different things. So I'll send out the dates for those at the same time. But everybody, if you, I know a lot of you, it's $25 for the class and you can do Venmo, PayPal, or cash or check. But thank you for coming. And everybody gets to say goodbye here to everybody online. And thank you for coming. We'll see you another time. All right, bye-bye.